Thank you very much. And back to the situation of Flint. On the St. John Street, the dope boys call themselves attacking Tarzan over there. I call him, ninth ward, I think. Yeah. He asked him for, anytime you want to, how you get all that set up before you come to the council? Then he said, I don't think that's your business, sir, but he said, it is my, then they went on, the black one, not the white one. Yeah, the white one and the black one, they got a business over on St. John, bigger than General Motors, because in industrial, nobody want to talk about it. And Miss Priestley, she talked about it because she smelled it from 2 miles away because she crossed the river right in her backyard. And they doing all kind of chemicals testing over there, but in the St. John people, they ain't never broke bread with them, because if they're gonna have to drop them a tear. But the white boy seem like he got more money, he can drop a tear. That's mean money. But the doc, he always talk about, I don't want to, but anyway, I just Tarzan addressed him tonight if he come in here talking that junk. And more power to our president for trying to deal with the Arabian peoples right now, because never again on the Holocaust Day, Israel will never get tricked again by Heil Hitler, and the beat goes on. Take that, America.
Thank you. Next public speaker, Madam Clerk.
The next speaker is James Moore.
Good evening, James Moore, 2nd Ward. In the spirit of good resolutions, since we're still in January, everybody in the city is praying for all of our council people to be able to put forth a good effort to get along. We don't know how long, but we're going to be hoping that it will last and go from there. Besides that, and like I said, in goodwill, councilman from the 7th Ward, last week, she was very, very well spoken on helping out in other areas of the city. I do appreciate that. But from 2024 to 2025, I'd just like to bring back up an issue in the 7th Ward with the Howard Estates and them train tracks that's loose as hell over there. And I would hate for a track to come loose and then we have to really step up to see if we're prepared to handle something that could be prevented if we could keep everything on point. And I know she's very good at keeping things on point. I know that she sits on a lot of boards and is very concerned of what's going on in the city. But if possible, one day I'd like to ride by those tracks and they don't be shaken. I think that'd be a great safety for the city. We don't want it to end up like Ohio and keep having trains fall off their tracks. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public speaker, Madam Clerk.
The next speaker is A.C. Dumas.
My name is A.C. Dumas, and I'm a resident of the 3rd Ward. I just want to say something about the 3rd Ward and the November general election. And I'm saying it on the record, I said it on my broadcast, and I said it in public, that I feel that the 3rd Ward election should not have counted. I won't take it back. I have no friends to reward, and neither do I have any enemies to punish. And the reason why, because you had voters, registered voters, in the 10th precinct that were disenfranchised and denied the right to vote. If I had won, whoever won, that would have been my same sentiment, because I think truth is truth and right don't wrong nobody. And for anyone to say, well, they're not important, those individuals that was in the 10th precinct, well, they don't matter. Well, I think they do matter. And I would say to any of you, what if it was you that you did not have the right to vote for the person of your choice. So I agree that the election, November 25th, 24 election should not have counted. I won't take it back. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean, and I'm putting it publicly on the record. All that other stuff, I'll let whoever handle it. But that's the reason why I feel that the election in the 3rd Ward, the general election, should not have counted. Because individuals, how many we do not know, were disenfranchised and denied the right to vote because the race wasn't on the ballot. Now, if you all think that's right, well, that's good. Let me speak about the ambassador. Of course, I think that is illegal. I think the appointed person, if there was an appointed person of the 3rd Ward, or the elected person, whenever the election is in August, that's the ambassador of the ward, the 3rd Ward. I think that each ward, when you go to your block club meetings, I think you can ask some of them who wants to serve as maybe perhaps a captain, a ward captains, when you go to your block club meetings. But you can't officially appoint them as ward captains. Those are some of the creative things that you can do. And so I gave my feelings and my opinion about the 3rd Ward, and opinions are like a nose. Everyone has one. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public speaker, Madam Clerk. Mr. Mitchell, please refrain from yelling out. Thank you.
The final speaker for this meeting is Rich Jones.
How y'all doing today? Let me grab my stuff. I want to read to y'all what the petitions for justice for Rayvon say. The first one, and hopefully we can get this resolved quickly. It reads, by signing below, I demand that the city of Flint, Michigan publicly acknowledge the death of Rayvon Shaheed, the 17-year-old child who was killed by the Michigan State Police while running out of fear for his life. I demand that the city of Flint make the details of the Michigan State Police contact, also known as the Secure City Partnership, public. I demand that they will work with the community as a whole to ratify or end the Michigan State Police contact with the city of Flint. This is the second one. By signing below, I demand that the state of Michigan State Attorney General Dana Nelson release the body cam and footage of the November the 2nd, 2024 murder of Rayvon Shaheed, 17, in the city of Flint by the Michigan State Police immediately. I demand a fair and impartial investigation, including an autopsy. I demand that the officers be indicted and arrested. I demand the officers' names be released, and I demand justice for Rayvon Shaheed. I have petitions here today if anybody y'all would like to sign it. About St. Mark's, thank you for getting it on the agenda, and may y'all please handle the business of the city before y'all go into y'all 1,000 rounds of voting. And when it comes to that, I don't think that y'all should be threatened by losing y'all pay because y'all won't change y'all mind, even though y'all won't vote for the best person for the seat, but that's okay. I still stand with y'all on holding y'all decision up. And I really don't feel that they should be even communicating saying that. And once again, if y'all don't start the meeting off where y'all flip it to where y'all take care of the city business first, I'm gonna stand right back up at this podium till y'all throw me out the building. Thank you.
Thank you. And Madam Clerk, you said that that was the last public speaker, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. It is now time for council response. Council members may respond once to all public speakers, only after speakers have spoken, and individual council members' response shall be limited to 2 minutes. Is there any council member who would like to speak during council response? All right, seeing as how there are no council members that would like to speak during council response, I will go ahead and take my time. Mr. Moore, thank you for your concerns about Howard and the train tracks over there. As I've stated last year, it is on my radar. I've had discussions about it. It will be discussed again here very shortly. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. In addition to hopefully being able to make sure that the tracks are not loose, I've also requested that we make sure that the crossing is available for the young people that come from Howard Estates and go over to the food bank, and the ones that also go over and use the park. So we're trying to make sure that the signage is good over there, as well as the rail arms are working, and we're also trying to make sure that there is pedestrian crossing happening there as well. There are a couple of safety concerns that street maintenance talked with me about, as far as putting the pedestrian crossing back and making sure that it is closely monitored, and that there's proper signage coming both ways, because people tend to speed in that area. So making sure that no one is getting run over as they're trying to legally cross the street. But thank you for putting that back on my radar. I do also want to correct something. I'm not on a whole lot of boards, but I appreciate it. Maybe you are speaking some things into existence, but I'm not on a whole lot of boards. But thank you. With that being said, I will now close out council response, yield the rest of my time. It is now time for the consent agenda. Is there a motion? There's been a motion to approve by the councilman in the 8th Ward. Support. Is there support? It's been properly supported by the councilwoman in the 4th Ward. We don't really have anything to separate. Are there any separations? It's not really anything to separate. He's here. Yeah, so we have one resolution, and that's 250026-T, which is the grant agreement for auto theft enforcement program, Genesee Auto Interface Network, also known as GAIN, amend the fiscal year 25 budget in the amount of. I'm sorry, Dennis separated already. And Chief is here. If anyone would like to have discussion, is there someone who would like the floor? Councilman in the 8th Ward, you do have the floor.
Chief, I'll give you my time to explain what this is.
Yeah, this is a grant that pays 60% of Flint City officers' wages and benefits to be part of Genesee Auto Theft Investigative Unit within Genesee County. There are multiple agencies that are part of this. It's existed for over 30 years. They're responsible for investigating all auto thefts in the city of Flint. Not just auto thefts, parts and accessories, specifically catalytic converters. I don't understand there were some questions regarding something to do with policy and procedures. And what that means is that even though the officer is assigned to gain auto theft, a City of Flint officer is still must adhere to all of our policies and procedures.
Can you explain a little bit about the city match portion of this? Where's that money coming from? Is that coming from your fund, or is that coming from some other reimbursable?
No, that's the general fund, 40%.
Okay. So part of this program is we have to match 40% of whatever's given to us?
No, we just pay the auto theft insurance grant provides 60% of that officer's wages. We're responsible for the additional 40%.
And this is for one sergeant?
It's an officer, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. I yield.
Thank you, Councilman Pfeiffer. I do want to go back because we did skip a step. I know that there's only one item. Thank you. There has been a motion to send Resolution 250026-T to council. Is there support? Moved and properly supported by the councilwoman in the 4th Ward. And Councilman Pfeiffer is yielding his time. Is there anyone else who would like a discussion in the first round? Seeing as how there's no one in the first round, is there anyone who would like discussion in the second round? Seeing as how there's no one else in the second round, we will now move to the vote to send Resolution 250026-T to council. Once again, this is the grant agreement for Auto Theft Enforcement Program, Genesee Auto Interface Network, also known as GAIN. Amend the fiscal year 25 budget in the amount of $105,100. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Okay, Mr. Alamin is not in. Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley? Yes. Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer? Yes. Mr. Jarrett? Yes. Vote is 7 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 7 yes, 0 no. That resolution passes to council. Moving to 250028-T, which is a discussion item on the 2024 Neighborhood Safety Officers, also known as the NSO report. This discussion item, as requested by Second Ward Councilmember Lewis, to allow for a 20-minute discussion on the 2024 NSO report. I will ask that the parties that were asked to join us for this discussion to please come to the lectern. I didn't see you right there, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone who would like the floor?
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman in the 4th Ward, you have the floor.
Hi, Chief. How are you today?
Good.
So I've reviewed a lot of these, and you know what would have been helpful for me is to also have these by ward so that I know what's happening in my ward. I look at some of these and I go, well, like improperly stored solid waste containers, there was 17 tickets. Or was there, is that one? It's hard to tell on this line. There's one. No, it says 17. So, you know, that seems to me, I can drive, if we're talking about the trash containers, I can drive by my street right now, and there's 2 between Virginia and Center Road. So, you know, if that's a ticketable offense, then, matter of fact, there's 3. I'm going to take that back.
Request for information.
What's your oh.
What's your request?
So through you to the speaker, can you get, what's the definition of improperly stored solid waste container? So what is a solid waste container?
That's what one of the questions I had.
I believe they're referring to trash cans on the curb.
So somebody is ticketing and the rest of them are not. When I've got ones, like I said, there's 3 or 4. I know off the top of my head, thinking as I'm driving down the street, there's at least 3 houses in my one block on both sides that have their trash cans out all the time.
I can get you an answer for that.
Okay, I appreciate that. And there's just so many other little ones, like here's one, oh, well, that's a business license.
The what?
There's a business license. I'm not going to count on that one because there's just sidewalk maintenance inspections. There's one of those. I saw snow and ice on public sidewalks. I'm assuming those are the sidewalks that are in the, because sidewalks are public sidewalks, correct? The ones in our neighborhoods?
The sidewalks?
They're public sidewalks, right? So this.
That's what I believe, they're public sidewalks.
So we've got snow and ice on public sidewalks, and how many times do we walk down the street and there's house after house after house without shoveling their sidewalks? So we've only got 1 ticket. So it'd be nice to know which area these tickets are coming from, and so that we can look at statistics in our own area. It's nice to have it for the whole city, but I would say this should be like the top page, followed by all 9 wards.
Request for information.
What is your request?
Can you think it's possible to also request what ordinance each one of these refer to? Like, is there an actual ordinance that says we have to clean sidewalks with snow?
Yeah, there is. There is. So, and only 2 vehicles for sale. I mean, there's so many little tickets that knowing where those are, and why aren't those ordinances being followed throughout the whole city?
Well, I can answer that. As you know, the NSO program is operated throughout the year 2024 understaffed, 3 vacancies. And also does not include officers that are on sick leave, call-in, things of that nature throughout the year. And they've been instructed, and based on complaints from citizens and city council, to concentrate majority of their efforts on those obviously egregious violations, trash accumulated on private property, vehicles parked on the street, things of that nature. And that's why you see these numbers reflect those type of violations.
Okay, that's good.
And I
to
didn't even know ice on the sidewalk. That's new for me, so. And I agree with Councilman Pfeiffer. I would like to look at the ordinance for that, because this is new information for me.
I actually used to snow blow several neighbors' yards, and then I realized that if I missed it, I was probably liable, so I stopped doing it, unfortunately, and I didn't like, but now I've got able-bodied people living in those homes, so they can do it themselves. But, yeah, it would be nice to have some of these information. I like the amount of tickets that we have given out in a lot of different areas, like the inoperative and unregistered vehicles on the street, inoperative and unregistered vehicle on private property. I just got a complaint today of another property that has that situation. And some of the other parking violations, vehicles parked in the yard, 2,700 of those. I mean, yeah. So that's and I'm going to yield my time.
All right, thank you. Councilman in the 8th Ward, you have the floor.
So, Chief Green, I have 2 questions. One is, this is great. Is there can we add another category of these are how many violations were sent, and then these are how many that were cleared up? Because if these were all initiated, how many of these were initiated were actually cleaned up?
So how many violations issued and how many were?
Yeah, how many were cleaned up? It says verbal paper warning cleared up.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big number, but of the overall number, like, I have no idea how many of these were actually cleaned up. Like,
Okay.
how many interoperative and registered vehicles on private property, like how many abandoned cars were actually towed and cleaned up compared to, we have 357 complaints in the month of January, how many were cleaned up? So I have that request. My second question is, what can this body do to help you bring resolution to this going forward and, potentially increase this if we have more violators than we have violations being given? So what can this body do to help you?
Well, you brought that up during our last discussion regarding this, and I think we have to look at the process. And the process, I believe, is a major issue, and I'll give you an example. We have in Ward 1, we have an individual that is using his property as a car dealership. He's parking cars on his lawn for sale. Mm-hmm. So we just dealt with this past Saturday. He's requesting, he said, why don't you just issue me a citation? And I believe we've issued multiple citations to him. So he'll just pay the citation and continue to violate the ordinance. And that, he's not the only one. I'm just using that as an example. So I think we have to look at the process. For example, if we issue a citation to a vehicle parked on the lawn, they have 14 days to move it. So what they're doing, they'll move it to the driveway. 14 days after the fact, they're moving somewhere else on the lawn. So those issues have to be seriously looked at. Accumulation of trash on private property. There's a house near Hurley Hospital. It's just egregious. I mean, it's just an eyesore. I know they've issued, and that's in the process of going to blight court. But it's just the time it takes, to deal with some of these. It looks like it gives the impression that the NSOs aren't doing their job, which they are. I think they're held, captive by the process. So that's something we're looking at, and I'll give you that report on what we've come up with, and hopefully that will help. But I think right now the process is the main issue.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like the floor? Councilman in the 9th Ward. I'm sorry, I go 9 and then 6.
Thank you. Good evening, Chief. So for this listing, for these that are listed that have tickets issued that have a fee or a fine, do we have a way of knowing between how many or what dollar amount has been issued by way of the fees and that number where they may have been collected? Is there a way of being able to track that as well?
Yeah, I'm sure that through blight court, yes.
Okay.
Now let me explain. So a lot of citations that are issued, a person might be issued a citation to comply with whatever that order is. So sometimes some individuals do comply, so there is no fine attached.
Right.
The NSO responds and makes sure they've complied with the order and they've done it. It closes out that case.
Okay, I figured something like that, where not everything comes with a direct monetary imposed penalty. And some, as you were saying, is somewhat of a warning. But for those where we have issued a fine or a fee, is there a way to sort of track that?
Yes.
To, just to have a good sense as to, what's being issued, what's being collected, and if there are any things that we may be able to do to enhance enforcement such that those fees are collected and we don't have another thing out there where it just doesn't mean necessarily anything. But that ask, I'll yield the floor.
Thank you. Councilwoman in the 6th Ward, you have the floor.
Thank you. Chief Green, what Councilman Pfeiffer kind of touched on, I know you got into the fact that you don't have NSOs. What is the issue with hiring them? Is it the pay or?
I don't know if it's the pay. I would say a lot of people are apprehensive about issuing tickets and enforcing, they're apprehensive about it. The NSOs that are working now, they receive threats and, verbal arguments, and people are, disgruntled with them issuing them a citation. So I think that's one thing. Pay, it's a contract issue. The pay is what it is. If it could be increased, I'm sure that would help. But that's primarily the main thing.
How many do you have actively now that are?
Well, we have 3 vacancies, so I would say 6. And we just posted, after that last meeting, we had the conversation about this. That following day, I posted those 3 vacant positions. So we're in the process of hiring to fill those vacant positions.
Okay. And while I do want to tell you thank you for when I wasn't here last Wednesday, the emergency meeting you were at, because in that you issued 5 search warrants, you seized 10 illegal firearms, you seized a large amount of cash, and numerous people were arrested. Thank you for that, because that was the second drive-by, and I appreciate you taking that unintended target, the wrong target home, and taking care of that, as I was not able to be here we were both at that meeting taking care of something that was so very serious. So I want to tell you thank you for that, and for the Detective Bureau and the hard work and the efforts that they have done. Thank you, Chief.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like the floor?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Councilwoman in the 5th Ward.
Yes. Chief Green, what is the process of getting in touch with your neighborhood safety officer or sending in a complaint or issue to the neighborhood safety officer? Because it used to be a time whereas we could meet with our NSO or, you know, my thing is your NSO should be the council person's right-hand person, whereas you can call your NSO and say, hey, there's an issue over on such and such street. There's a car parked there that's been there for 3 days. Neighbors are complaining. What is the process?
Well, I say the easiest process for me is the email. You can email me, you can email the NSO, but I prefer to get the emails because we tried this process back two years ago, 3 years ago, and a city council person would have a complaint about blight or an NSO issue, but the message wasn't reaching their command officer.
Okay.
And the incident was, so to speak, put on the back burner. When I get the complaints, personally, I direct those complaints to the proper department. And 100% of the time, those complaints are cleared up, or I get some type of response on the status of that complaint. And that's the way we prefer it. Hopefully, you know, we don't have to micromanage in that way, because that's a lot of extra work for me and my staff. But for now, we have to do it that way to make sure that these incidents and these complaints get cleared up.
So can we get a list of the NSOs
Yeah.
per ward and their email address?
I can do that. I'll give you
Okay.
a list of the email for the NSO assigned to each ward and the email address. Again, I'm apprehensive to do that because if you call them with a direct complaint, I want to make sure it's followed up on and completed.
Yeah, and so
If you
I'm
can CC
sure
me on it,
we will CC you
That'll
on
work.
that.
Yep.
And I know that a lot of times if there's like a blight complaint, I would always call Harletta, and she's very, very good about putting in that complaint.
Yep.
So I think that's good too. But other complaints, you know, we need to know the process.
I understand.
Thank you, Chief. I yield my time.
Thank you, Councilwoman in the 2nd Ward. You are the last one if you would like to take your time.
Okay, Chief, so what special assignments are the NSOs assigned to?
Pardon me?
What special assignments?
What do you mean special assignment?
So I remember when they used to go and distribute water at Ashbury. I remember when they used to do a ward sweep.
So that water special assignment, I ended that.
Okay.
I replaced that with ward sweeps on Wednesdays. And that means every available NSO would concentrate on one ward, and we rotated those wards every Wednesday. So that was done until, again, we lost 3 NSOs. But that's an initiative that was very successful, and that's one of the special assignments they had every Wednesday, weekly.
Okay. All right, so as of right now, it's suspended until you get more staff?
No, they're gonna restart it again, but there was, you know, we had some NSOs out on injury. We terminated a couple NSOs, and it was, we're gonna restart those here real soon, if not next week.
Okay. And so, I'm looking on this sheet, and it looks like a few things could be antiquated, such as, what is this? Well, I guess not if it's down. I'm looking at abandoned refrigerators. So how do you all select, no, let me start over. So is this a conclusive list of everything that you check for, or is it just a snapshot? So is this a,
I believe it's a conclusive list,
okay,
based on the ordinances.
okay. All right, and so when I look at it, it says grass violation, private property access of 12 inches. So is it 12 inches or 8? You don't know?
No, 12 inches is kind of high, but
Yeah, 6.
I have to check on that.
It's for sure 6.
Okay. And so I heard you mention that having a car lot is illegal. And so is that the equivalent of displaying a vehicle for sale?
No, the home that I mentioned, it sits on the corner, and one of the violations, you have vehicles parked on the lawn, on the front lawn. And he has like 3 or 4 vehicles parked on the front lawn. So it didn't matter if they were for sale or not, they just happened to be for sale, but the violation actually is him parking the vehicles on the front lawn for sale. But, you know, there comes a business license issue also. That's not a legal business. So that's, that would be up to the administration, the BSI, to, those type of complaints are passed on the BSI.
Okay, so if I have a personal vehicle and I have it, and I put a for sale sign in the window and it's on my private property, is that against the law?
If it's parked on the lawn, yes.
Okay, no, it's not on the lawn. Yeah, because I was looking at number 1 where it said displaying vehicle for sale. Because I guess I just want to make sure that we have a very accurate and structured list of things that they are actually checking for.
You say displaying vehicle for sale?
Yeah, it's the first one, displaying
Oh, I
vehicle
see
for
it, okay.
sale. And it looked like we only had 2 people that were quote-unquote guilty of that in July.
Yeah, I would have to check on that one.
Okay, thank you.
That concludes the discussion item. However, I have not had an opportunity.
Minutes, an additional 10 minutes.
Support.
It's been moved and properly supported. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Mr. Jarrett? Yes. Mr. Alamin is not in. The vote is 7 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 7 yes, 0 no. We will have an additional 10 minutes. Were you done with your thought, Councilwoman, in the second ward?
No.
Go ahead.
So if you look at number 8, which speaks to a vehicle parked in the yard, that's different than displaying vehicle for sale. So that's why I was inquiring about the vehicle being listed for sale. So what was the actual offense? So it sounded like the actual offense was the vehicle being parked in the yard. So is number 1 even, should they even be enforced?
I don't, yeah, I would have to check on that one. I didn't even know that was an ordinance, but it's it has to be an ordinance. So
Okay.
I see, you're correct. Only 2 citations were issued for that.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and conclude my time, Chief. I definitely appreciate you attending and answering these questions, because I know I'm speaking exclusively for the second ward. You mentioned that the NSOs, since we have a limited number, that you guys just target certain things. But we definitely have a lot of things in the second ward that needs targeting. And I'm talking about almost everything on this sheet. And so when I look at the sheet, I just want to make sure that it is something clear that we all have an understanding for, and so that we can definitely abide by, because I want everything enforced as much as we can, because we need all the help that we can get in the second ward. We have people parking all over the grass. We have all kind of recreational vehicles in the street, parked on the grass, semi-trucks parked on the grass. And so I definitely support however we can assist you with getting the staff that you need, and also we can, get the enforcement that we deserve. So I appreciate it, Chief, and I yield my time.
I thank you. I am the last one to speak on this discussion item. Chief, thank you for taking the time to come tonight. Only thing that I really wanted to do is, because what I am going to do is take this compilation of what we've requested, send it to the city clerk, have her send it out to all of us with you included in the email. And that way we can get the answers. But I just want to make sure that I do have everybody's request correct. I know the councilwoman in the 4th ward requested to have it broken down by ward so that we could see the ward breakdown. I know that someone also requested that if we could get definitions for all of these, or at least the ones that are not immediately clear. Someone else requested that we have the ordinance reference for each of these, and I know most of these are going to be found in the blight ordinance, but if in case they are found somewhere else, if we can get the ordinance reference for them. A councilman in the 8th ward asked about how many were actually cleaned up, because we have a number here about the verbal paper warnings cleared up and all of that. So if we could get that. Councilman in the 9th ward asked, is there a way to track the fines for certain citations? So if we could maybe get the fine or fee schedule of how that works. I would also like to know what happens if they're a repeat offender. So I'm going to add that to the list, because we do have some people where they were given verbal or paper warnings, they cleared up whatever happened, but then they committed the same offense again. And so I would like to know what happens when they are repeat offenders. At what point does the fine start? And then if you've already had to fine them for this one thing once, are they catching the same fine the next time? And then Councilwoman in the 5th ward asked for a list of the NSOs per ward and their email address. With that, you did say the caveat of you wanted to make sure that you were included, to make sure, and I can understand why, because that would help you be able to hand us lovely numbers that we have in front of us today, and also to make sure that any of the concerns are being followed up on. But as the Councilwoman in the 5th ward pointed out, we all do mostly lean on blight with our concerns. And then the next one was Councilwoman in the 2nd ward wanted to know if the displays a vehicle for sale sign, if that is against an actual ordinance. And so, because obviously there's a difference between being parked on the grass and displaying a vehicle for sale sign, so we just want some clarification on that. I will ask my colleagues if there's anything else that I should add to this list. All right, seeing as how there's nothing else to add to the list, what I do have, I will go ahead and I'm sorry, go ahead.
Through you to the speaker. When we first got on council, we received an email from Clyde telling us that we had to send all complaints through him, which I've been doing. And now we're saying different things, and I just want clarity as to where we're supposed to send those blight complaints.
I need the complaints. I need to be CC'd on them to make sure that they're followed up on and completed.
So Councilwoman Priestley, I guess just send them to all three of whomever you're trying to get it to. Make sure the city administrator is also included as well.
I sent it to Jennifer.
Well, there you go. Madam Clerk, I guess we'll make sure that the council staff know that to also CC. But I think in this case, he was talking specifically about, to Councilwoman Winfrey Carter's concern of if she wanted to email her, if any one of us wanted to email our NSO officers ourselves. He was saying that while he does not prefer that route, understandably, that if that is done, that he wants to be CC'd on that so that he can make sure that, one, he knows the communications that are happening, and two, that he can follow up on. So I don't think it was about the way, it was specifically toward the process and the way that you do it. It was Ms. Winfrey Carter stating that if she would like to email, or if any of us would like to email our NSO about a complaint, that he would like to be included on that if it goes to the NSO. We good? Yep. Got it, okay. All right, so seeing as how there's nothing else that we need to add for clarity, we do appreciate your time today. We're probably asking for you again because blight is a very, very huge cause of concern in the city right now. So we want to make sure that we are doing our part, as Councilman in the 8th Ward said, to make sure that we're supporting your efforts and uplifting your efforts. And we sincerely hope that everybody can have their own NSO, because I know we share a lot of the times.
Yep.
And so we're looking forward to there being 9 NSOs, but yeah. So thank you, and I think that that will conclude our discussion item. And again,
Madam Chair,
I'm sorry, 1 second. Yeah.
motion to adjourn.
All right, just 1 second, I wanted to finish. And I'm going to send this list to the clerk, who can get it out to all council and get it to you, Chief, so that you know for sure what was requested in this meeting. There's a motion, that concludes our discussion item. And there's a motion to adjourn by the councilwoman in the 6th Ward. Is there support? It's been moved and properly supported by the councilwoman in the 4th Ward. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Priestley? Yes. Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer? Mr. Jarrett? Mr. Alamin is not in. Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
The vote is 7 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 7 yes, 0 no. As we adjourn, I would like to remind everyone of the clerk's statements at the beginning of the meeting. The slips will be put out there. You will be given time to fill out the speaker slips to speak during the council meeting. The time is now 5:39 p.m. and I call this Special Affairs Committee meeting to a close.
Madam Clerk?
The time is 5:52 PM, and I am calling this city council meeting to order for the purpose of electing a city council president in accordance with the Flint City Charter. We will start with the roll call and then immediately move into the rounds. So for the roll call, Mr. Alamin is not in. Ms. Lewis?
Present.
Ms. Priestley?
Present.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Present.
Ms. Burns?
Present.
Ms. Mashat?
Present.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Present.
Mr. Jarrett? You have 7 members present. And we will start the rounds where we left off. And again, when I call your name, you will say...
Madam Clerk,
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a motion to move the organization of city council to the end of the agenda so that we can complete city business.
Is there a second to her
Support.
motion? Okay, Ms. Priestley, supported by Ms. Lewis, has made a motion to move the organization of the city council to the end of the agenda. And we will get the roll call vote on that. That's Mr. Alamin is absent. Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer? Mr. Jarrett? The vote is 5 yes, 2 no. That motion passes. And because my role is to chair for only that portion of the agenda, I'm going to hand it back over to Ms. Lewis.
Mr. Mitchell, stop yelling out. So now it's time for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Pfeiffer, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? So now it's time for the prayer of the blessing, but before we move on to the prayer of the blessing, do we have anyone that the council members would like to acknowledge during this time?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Councilwoman of the 7th Ward.
Yes, I'd like to recognize the Cole and Darrow family in the passing of one of their family members.
All right, anyone else?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Councilwoman of the 6th Ward.
and I apologize for not being able to pull this up because I am having computer difficulty.
Well, while we wait, anyone else? Okay, I would like to acknowledge the family of Miss Cynthia Sanders and also Miss Mary Ellen Bailey and also Miss Lanier Green. That is Lanier Green. And whenever you're ready, Miss Burns.
Thank you. I would like to acknowledge Miss Kelly E. Stewart Williams, who passed away. Her sunrise was October 15th, 1970, and her sunset was January 17th, and this is for Michelle Young, who made me aware of her passing.
All right, seeing that we have no one else, we will go ahead and have a moment of silence for those mentioned. All right, so time for the prayer blessing. Mr. Jarrett, would you please lead us in a prayer blessing, please?
And we ask that the words of our mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight. We acknowledge you as our Lord, our strength, and our Redeemer. Amen.
Amen.
All right, thank you. So now the reading of the Disorderly Person City Code subsection. Any person that persists in disrupting this meeting will be in violation of the Flint City Code Section 3110, disorderly conduct, assault and battery, and disorderly persons, and will be subject to arrest for a misdemeanor. Any person who prevents the peaceful and orderly conduct of any meeting will be given one warning. If they persist in disrupting the meeting, that individual will be subject to arrest. Violators will be removed from the meetings. So now it's time for request for agenda changes and addition. Do we have any agenda changes?
Madam Chair?
Go ahead, Madam
I'm
Clerk.
sorry. Nope, not agenda change. Sorry. No, it's, I wanted to separate something when you get to separations. I just need to make sure you separate a resolution.
Oh, okay, all righty. So we will move on to public comment. So the first speaker, Madam Clerk.
The first speaker is R.L. Mitchell.
Good evening, Council. I'm R.L. Mitchell. And I want to announce a moment of silence for the oldest deacon in my church, Church of God in Christ, Harris Memorial. His name was Deacon Robert Nightkin, 92 years old. Thank you very much. And now, like I say, I'm R.L. Mitchell. I live on the north side in the 3rd Ward, 759 East Linden, but might as well be in the graveyard because I can see it from my house. Okay, anyway, I want to address Ms. Priestley. To you, Madam Chair, to Ms. Priestley. Ms. Priestley, we the people want to know in 3rd Ward, how did 7th Ward go about with them NFOs to get Whittier, kept Whittier from getting tore down? They're gonna rebuild Whittier, and the word out in the streets that Mr. Scheck tried to break bread with the Mott peoples because they got the deepest pockets in Flint. They take care of business, and quiet as it kept. The peoples in Mott College running the top NFOs, but nobody's saying nothing about it. But Miss Candace Mashack knows, but somebody offered her a job to take Whoopi Goldberg part, and she hesitating on what's to take it or not, and dropped the ball again like she did, ran out on Miss Karen Weaver. And we ain't got our money yet. Like you and that woman on the east side, Miss Fields. Every time y'all get money in y'all pocket, y'all get the big head because don't know how to distribute to we the peoples. And let the outside peoples come in like Burton jumped on us already, but the old folks at Hassel ain't saying nothing about it. And the dude talk about, you see my work in the 1st Ward, and trying to get the fire chief, Mr. Green, in deeper in trouble. Just like over them dope boys over there, they even complained. They seen them digging around in their grass, and they went over there and checked the popo. They said, sir, what you? And they said, we just had a call, somebody dumped some junk over here, but they done mayor, he was the first one to call somebody dumped it. He ain't got paid for it yet, nickel bag nearly. And want you to address that stuff. Them dope boys so dangerous, they look humble, but they call themselves gonna be biggest General Motors. They is biggest General Motors, but nobody don't want to tell the people that. They got milk cartons over there right now. Like they gonna peddle that milk, chocolate milk and twin pine milk. When I was first introduced to St. John, they put milk on the porch and nobody touched them. I remember that stuff. I was so hungry I started to go up there and drink something until they put me in the Fairview school to taught me how to eat up graham crackers and milk. That's how I failed in the kindergarten through the, I keep coming.
All right, next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Next speaker is James Moore.
James Moore, Second Ward. Just like to point out the issue of these here catalytic converters. We brought it up in 2024. I'm glad that it has arrived at the chief's attention. I do appreciate Mrs. Priestley out of the Fourth Ward for supporting me when I brought this issue up. And now I have come victim to it. They stole my catalytic converter. It's $1,100. You know, I hear RL talking about the dope boys. Well, I'm here talking on behalf of the broke boys. Hell, it's hard trying to make up for something like that. What's next? They're going to be running around taking license plates? They metal too. So we got to start cracking down and doing something about this here. And one other issue that I'd like to say, since I got a few more seconds up there, a minute or two, in regards to the late, great Eric Mays, he had used to make a statement about rules and what happens with them and being careful with them, because when we have to apologize for what happened last week, that's kind of difficult. It just seems like it's goofy rules, and I'm not sure if it was from the council or whatever, but I think we can all do a better job by working together. Thank you.
Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
The next speaker is AC Dumas.
My name is AC Dumas, and I'm a resident of the City of Flint, 3rd Ward, and I just want to come and speak on behalf of something that's been near and dear to this community for some time, and that's the St. Mark Missionary Baptist Church. I have members at the ministry where I attend, and it's not St. Mark. They go and volunteer, and other people around the community volunteer for that great organization. And I asked the council to approve the $50,000 funding, to approve it from the opera fund. Now, you know, I'm kind of been rough on opera fund, because I'll correct anybody other than the 7th Ward that has, 7, whatever, over in that area, Evergreen, all over there, Belmont. See, I know the area. I grew up over there. I don't know any other wards, and if I'm wrong, correct me, that got any roofs, windows, water heaters, furnaces, in-home plumbing, up sidewalks, or anything of that nature. But all the money has been dispersed to 501c3s. And as I said on last week, those groups should, before they receive any money, make sure that they have filed their paperwork. Absolutely. See, I don't have friends to reward Mr. Pfeiffer or enemies to punish. I just say what I'm going to say. No mean, no harm, just telling the truth. So I'm supporting Pastor Thompson and the St. Mark Missionary Baptist Church. And as I close, the tracks over in the 7th Ward on Howard Avenue, I was raised over there, so right by the tracks, Skinner Barber Shop, Howard Avenue Barber Shop. Some of y'all don't even know about that. But was raised over there. But the tracks are privately owned. And so, whoever's going to reach out have to reach out to the train company, CSR, whatever train company, because they are privately owned. They're not owned by the public. And if they are repaired, the tracks, they will have to repair the tracks. So that's it. Support St. Mark's.
Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
The next speaker is Rich Jones.
How y'all doing today? I just got some questions right quick. Far as the KWA bond, it's told to me that 60% of our water bills go towards the KWA bond. I was wondering, because it's also been brought to my attention that we're really not using that water source. Could we, before that water intertwined with our current water system, can we build something to treat the water and then form a bottled water company? That's a question that I don't know. Hopefully we can. If we can, let's do it. If we can't, whatever. But it is something worth looking into, being that we are paying for something and not getting nothing out of it, and we can't drink from our sinks. So maybe that could be a way to alleviate something. I remember before Leslie made a dime off a bottle of water, we had that opportunity. Before a casino was built in Michigan, we had that opportunity. So maybe if we have this opportunity, that we don't miss out on it. I just pray on it. Another thing I got to say that it's been a lot of exaggeration going on in the city of Flint, and it's time for it to stop. And certain people like myself, we exist, no matter how much you ignore. People pay attention. Some people listen in silence, but y'all gonna see some loud people soon, very soon. Mr. Pfeiffer, when you said that the city lose $11 million a year from their water fund, when I was out going knocking doors to doors, I didn't even tell the people that wasn't true. I just told them that's what you said, and they was like, well, 2 years worth of relief is better than none. Man, it's mighty ironic that many times that I have brought it up and mentioned it, you said nothing for years, and then you want to make that kind of comment late in the game. Kind of strange. Peace out.
Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
The next speaker is Arthur Woodson.
Yeah, I'm glad you're leaving, but I'm gonna catch you before you leave. Y'all some ignorant, y'all ignorant, man. Last week, y'all knew what, I'm gonna apologize to you. I was mad. I'm gonna apologize to you, all right? But y'all three, y'all stupid, man. Y'all Satan's child. Y'all are really ignorant. Y'all knew that we didn't have enough time, and I heard Candace, hurry up and hit the gavel. Hurry up and hit the gavel. Y'all tried to stop people from talking. That's how ignorant y'all are. You better go get you some help, Candace. Won't no help you, Liddell. Judy, you just raggedy. I mean, seriously, y'all ignorant, man. And y'all sit up there and try to talk mess about Tanya and personal beef. If Tanya had to nominate me for something, you, and Leon would not vote for me because of your personal issues. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give you an example. St. Mark, I bet you $15 that big moose won't vote for it. I guarantee you. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Y'all four, y'all need to buckle down. I see them as the Republicans. They don't care what they tear up, if they tear it up. They're gonna stand their ground. They're not gonna give. They're not gonna do anything. But y'all four, y'all wanna get along. Y'all gonna have to stand up and fight, for real. Y'all really need to stand up and say, you know what? We're not gonna give in to nothing. I don't care what the people say. It's not about your job. And I think that's what y'all worry about the most, is getting reelected. instead of really looking out for the people. Y'all scared that if I vote this way, the people won't vote for me. But y'all don't care anyway because y'all voting for Nilly. No matter what Nilly sends up here, y'all gonna vote for it, no matter what. Judy, I heard it's a big trailer over there on Davidson and Averill in somebody's yard. And you know what I'm talking about. Call the NSOs and tell them to move that big ass trailer with the Trump sign on it. Bet you if it was Kamala Harris on there, you would have been and told them to move it. I bet you that. Don't look stupid, you know about it. For real, you know about it. But anyway, I just had to come back and mention that y'all three are stupid, ignorant, clustered fucks, everything. But y'all take care.
Any more speakers, Madam Clerk?
The next speaker is Linda Poley.
Good afternoon. My name is Linda Poley. I'm a resident of the 9th Ward of the City of Flint. I had not planned to say this, but I also endorse the St. Mark's proposal, and I'll take Arthur Woodson's bet any day of the week because I think it speaks for itself, and I believe you will pass it. The reason I came up tonight was to applaud and endorse the action that the Ethics and Accountability Board has taken. And I'm aware it will cause financial hardship, some more than others, but I think everybody on the dais is going to feel this, and I am sorry, I say that with all sincerity. But it needs doing. The city's violated the charter since it was in effect over 7 years ago, and we are working on that. But this violation is not just a violation of the charter. It is depriving more than 8,000 people in this city of a fundamental right to be represented in the government. Now, I understand what's happened here. First, what happened was Quincy died. That happened, that's nobody's fault. But now this is something that people are doing. And you really need to stop, if not out of respect for this council, but out of respect for the people who live in the 3rd Ward. Your rules don't say anything about what you need to do. Neither does the charter. So I think you need to find a different way to approach this. Because the old saying says, if you do what you've always done, you're gonna get what you've always got. So even though nobody is happy right now, I suggest that all of you declare victory. Because even though you have not got what you wanted, you have prevented the other side from getting what they wanted. And start again. The people who are going to run are selected, go out into the community in the 3rd Ward and find people who are willing to fill in the interim as a matter of public service. You're not going to have a hard time finding them. They might not be politically involved, but they're in the church, they're in the community groups, they're in private businesses. And put somebody in that seat who will represent the 3rd Ward people until the election in August and a new 3rd Ward representative is elected. Really, there is no point in seeking to prevent other people from taking power. There's no point in engaging in recriminations. This is your job. This is what you agreed to do. And I respectfully request that you do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more speakers, Madam Clerk?
Next speaker is Joseph King.
Good afternoon, Council. I'm Joe King, Chairman of the Epton Accountability Board. I'm here today. I'm sure you all have sent this correspondence out, but I will read it so it goes on the record. This was sent out, excuse me, January 27, 2025, especially to Ms. Lydia Lewis, Acting President, Flint City Council, 1101 North Saginaw Street, Flint, Michigan. Received a 9202 notice of escrow for charter violation. Chairperson Lewis, please be advised that Epton Accountability Board has notified you twice in writing, in addition to filing litigation against you, and you should mean the council as a whole. Your continued violation of Flint Charter, Charter 2410, failing to appoint a replacement to fill the 3rd Ward seat within 30 days of the vacancy. Your appointment deadline was October the 29th, 2024. As none of these measures result in your complying with the charter, the EAB is left with only one resource. Flint City Charter 9-202 provide as follows. And you have to forgive me because I got a little light here, problem here. If the Epton Accountability Board determined that there has been a failure to adopt the ordinance and resolution required by this charter, then the Epton Accountability Board may cause the council compensation to be placed in escort with the city treasurer. Upon determining that the council had complied with the charter requirement to adopt the required resolution, the Epton Accountability Board should cause the escrow fund to be paid to the council members. Be advised, on Thursday, January 23rd, 2025, EBA made a determination that the City Council had violated Charter 2410 and remained in violation of the charter. As such, if the city failed to comply with the charter by Monday, January 27, 2025, the DAB will hereby direct the treasurer to escrow the compensation of all city council members.
Mr. King,
Rich.
that's your time.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
Next speaker.
The final speaker for this meeting is Liberty Bell. Liberty Bell? That's, okay, that was the last speaker.
Okay, thank you. So now it's time for council response. Any council members would like to respond?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Councilwoman 6th Ward.
Thank you. I do want to say to you, Pastor Thompson of St. Mark's Missionary Baptist Church on the corner of Welch and DuPont, that when I did find out about that money was available, I am so not talking to you right now, but I'm going to get you later. So I appreciate you volunteering, Arthur Woodson, every week and making sure, because you do, and you deliver food. But regardless if we don't like each other in this, this council, when I found that it was money, it's for you and for Bethel, and immediately we started working on this to feed the community. No one should have to go hungry in our community, especially when we have money in ARPA for food access. Nobody. And yours, I was able to put through to get your resolution. It has been denied. Hopefully that tonight we can come together to make sure that this gets passed, because it's important. I see the work that you do in the community and the people there who actually serve the community, and how many. I haven't worked it very many times, but I have worked your line. They work folks too hard in your line. But I appreciate the work you do. I do want to speak to Mr. Joe King. I want to be very clear with this. You have to do what you feel you have to do, and unfortunately, we may have to seek outside legal advice because we could keep getting stuck with public defenders, unfortunately. But as far as stopping someone's pay, the Ethics Board doesn't have an ombudsman. You are in violation as a board with not having an ombudsman, and then you're taking us to court. I don't know what we can take from you, but I think that's hypocrisy at its finest. This should be another way to be doing this. You didn't feel that way when Councilman Mays was out for 90 days.
All right. So anyone else would like to speak during council response?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Councilman in the 8th Ward.
So I want to thank everyone for coming and engaging in the public comments. Specifically, I want to address Mr. Joe King. Mr. Joe King, I want to thank you for your leadership. I want to thank you for your leadership in providing an absence of an ombudsman for more than 2 years. I want to thank you for your leadership on costing the city $50,000 in lawsuits that you have filed against this council and we had to fight. I want to thank you for your leadership in really just the ability to drag the city down, because it is amazing that the accountability board is being sued for not being transparent and doing stuff outside of the charter. To me, that is amazing leadership, that you can be that inept to keep pushing forward. I appreciate it with all kindness in my heart, sir. If there was any recourse that we could take against the city Ethics and Accountability Board, I promise you that this body could come together to do that. As much as we're divided, we see the corruption that you have brought to that board. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, anyone else would like to speak during council response?
Well, I guess I'll take my turn.
Go ahead, Councilwoman in the 5th Ward.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I would like to thank all of the residents for coming out and voicing your concerns, opinions, what have you. Thank you for being engaged in the process. And I would like to say, I do echo the sentiments of my colleagues, Councilwoman Burns and Councilman Pfeiffer. As far as I'm concerned, Mr. King, you didn't even have to get up here and read this. First of all, we can all read. We can all read. Reading is fundamental, okay? We have a copy of it. We can read this. But what I want to say, this is a bunch of crap. It's a bunch of crap. First, you need to clean up your own backyard before you start trying to clean up other people's backyard. Now, the reality of it is, Mr. King, first of all, you wasted our time going to court, and you wasted the residents' taxpayers' money. And then with this, go get an ombudsperson. Clean up all of the things that's on y'all's table as far as residents' complaints. Go and investigate that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Anyone else like to speak during council comments? All right, seeing that no one else would like to speak, we will move on to the next item on the agenda. So it is now reconsideration for appointments. What's the pleasure of the body?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Ms. Burns.
are you doing them both together, or?
No, one
Okay,
by
I'd
one.
like to, can we separate them?
They're not together.
Yeah,
It's before the consent
I
agenda.
separate the appointments.
So what I read it into the record was, we're on now for the reconsideration for the council, to the appointment. I said the appointment. So we're looking at
Yeah.
resolution 250008, the appointment to the Hurley Board of Managers, Jaleel Carter. What's the pleasure of the body? Okay, so per the advisement of administration,
Yeah, she had said it.
well, I guess we go ahead and vote up and down. Go ahead. What's the pleasure of the body?
Madam Chair, I move that we reconsider Resolution 250008, which is the appointment to Hurley Board of Hospital Managers, Jaleel Carter.
All right, it's motion on the floor to reconsider resolution 250008. Any support? Okay, there's no support. So, go ahead, Mr. Pfeiffer. So it is a motion on the floor to reconsider resolution 240548. Any support?
Support.
Supported by the councilwoman in the 6th Ward. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Ms. Burns.
thank you. I'll wait for the clock. Okay. Through you to Pastor Thompson, if you could come to the podium. Oh, we got to vote. Yeah. We got to reconsider.
Right, so what is your point, Mr. Pfeiffer?
No.
Down.
Yeah, I thought that it was debate, but the debate is to be centered around this being reconsidered, not the meat of the resolution.
Yeah.
So
Yes
that was
or no?
precedent that we hadn't passed,
Vote
so
up,
I'll
vote
defer
down.
that to the clerk. So, Madam Clerk?
Yes, there is no debate on the motion to reconsider. If it's reconsidered, then you would debate the item. So there
Then
is no
when it
discussion on this motion.
So I just want to make sure that I hear you clearly. So you said that there is no debate on the reconsideration?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, so sorry about that, Ms. Burns. So there is no debate on reconsideration, so we remember that going forward. All right, so,
For clarification, no debate on the motion to reconsider. If the item is then approved for reconsideration, then you would have a normal debate after a regular motion.
all right, understood. All right, so now, so there is a motion on the floor to reconsider Resolution 240548, and that is the reallocation of ARPA funds for St. Mark. So roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Alamin is absent. Ms. Lewis?
No.
Ms. Priestley?
No.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Mushat?
No.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Mr. Jarrett?
Yes.
The vote is 4 yes, 3 no.
The vote is 4 yes, 3 no, so that reconsideration fails. So now we move on to the consent agenda. What's the pleasure of the body?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Ms. Priestley.
motion to approve.
So there's a motion to approve the consent agenda. Any support? All right, I'll go ahead and support that. Any separations?
Madam Chair?
Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
I'm asking that council separate Resolution 240341.1, which is the vacation of Robert Street. That resolution was moved to council in anticipation of a public hearing, but we had to reschedule the public hearing because it had been outstanding since October. So the public hearing has been rescheduled for February 10th. So I'm asking that council postpone this item to council until the 10th of February so that the public hearing can be held.
Okay, so you said resolution 240341.1. Is that the only one?
Yes, that's the only one that I'm concerned about.
Oh, okay.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Ms. Priestley.
I'd like to separate 250006 and 250007.
All right, any more separations? All right, seeing none, we will go ahead and look to pass in the consent agenda resolutions 24057, 250027, and 250026. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Mr. Jarrett? Yes. Mr. Alamin is absent. The vote is 7 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 7 yes, 0 no, so the consent agenda passes. So now we are on to resolution 250006.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
motion to postpone indefinitely.
All right, there's a motion on the floor to postpone indefinitely. Any support? Any support? Okay, so I'll go ahead and support that. And this is per the request of administration?
Yes.
All right. So we are looking to postpone resolution appointment 250006 to postpone indefinitely. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
No.
Ms. Burns?
No.
Ms. Mashat?
No.
Mr. Pfeiffer is not in. Mr. Jarrett? Mr. Alamin is absent. Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
The vote is 2 yes, 4 no.
The vote is 2 yes, 4 no. So that motion does not pass. So what's the pleasure of the body?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
I'd like to send item number 250006, appointment of Phyllis Schultz, to council. To be approved, I'm sorry.
Support.
All right, so there's a motion to approve resolution 250006 to send to council. It has been moved by the councilman in the 6th Ward, and it has been supported by the councilman in the 8th Ward. Any discussion?
It's to approve, Madam Chair.
I'm sorry. Yeah, to approve. We are in council. Thank you. Any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Pfeiffer.
Mr. Schultz, do you want to approach the lectern? Mr. Schultz, is this a position that you want?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you have any knowledge of the administration? Because they said on the request of the administration. Do you have any knowledge of why they would want to cancel this?
I have total speculation. I have no idea. I've been the chair of the board for the last year and a half, served on the finance committee. I've been there 16 years. As you all know, I'm a businessman. We're a $400 million operation with 2,500 employees. We serve this county. We serve the city even more so.
It is mandatory that we have good board members to manage the administration that manages the hospital. This is truly one of the most important boards in the city as far as I'm concerned.
And to your knowledge, you don't have any, you're not aware of any reason why my colleagues would want to kill this appointment?
I've been in this town 76 years, and I might as well say it, and if it costs me the job, that's okay. I don't really serve at the pleasure of the mayor. I serve at the pleasure of this council. If this council does not want me and my abilities to serve on the board, I will respect that. To me, I just think this is politics.
Okay.
Apart?
Okay. I'll yield to my other colleagues.
All right, anyone else would like to speak in the first round?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Ms. Burns.
first of all, thank you for your service, Mr. Schultz. We may have not always been on the same side of the aisle, but when it comes to the community, you do a lot. You were just here, you have filled some of the gaps, not just with serving on the board and making sure that there's integrity for Hurley Hospital, but also with your diaper drives, your philanthropy for this community. A lot of people who are philanthropists will not, they just want to, do what they do and not ever be seen. You're a very active voice in this community, and it needs to be that way to see change, and that as we change, you take the good with the bad, the shots, you try to change it, and you're a change maker. My reasons for supporting you are very transparent. You're here to, if we want to embrace change in our community, because it's changing. I've told people we're in the process of gentrification and change, and we have to have change because each ward has had so many issues. You serving on this board, and it's not just you, and to have professionals that when it's there, it's about Hurley. There does have to be a balance, and we've got other people for the board who are on here, but I think that some of this, it is politics, and it's unfortunately politics at its worst, and some of it may even be retribution, and that should not be in the way of having people who serve, and it's not a board you get paid for. I am supporting this and supporting you, and I appreciate your efforts that you have given this community and your time. So I will be supporting this.
If I may add,
Absolutely.
last fiscal year, we lost $50 million as an institution. With this board's direction that exists today, we turn that around that we're probably in excess of $20 million in profit versus a $50 million deficit. Not deficit, loss. That's a profit loss. It's been a dramatic turnaround. The administration has done an incredible job in doing that. In this community especially, we have to have the funds to be able to serve the people that can't afford to pay for medical bills. And we have many people that come to the hospital because they don't have the wherewithal to go to a primary physician, and they need to be taken care of. This board has turned that around. It's a great board. It has fundamental, the realities of this city that I've spent 76 years in, and I hope that politics doesn't play in how Hurley Medical Center is governed.
I sincerely hope that it won't either, but I've heard some hissing from my seat towards that end. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But I am supporting you, and I appreciate your efforts. I truly do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz.
Anyone else would like to speak?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Ms. Winfrey Carter.
Madam Chair, through you to Mr. Schultz. Mr. Schultz, exactly how long have you been on the Hurley board?
I've been on the Hurley Foundation for, I think, 22 years, and I started the Hurley Medical Center in 2008.
Okay. And
so 16 years.
Okay. And you've been the chairperson of the board for how long?
I was the chairperson back in probably 2016, 2015, and then last year, and I was just elected to the chair again a couple of months ago, and I just came off of chairing finance, and I chair strategic planning.
Okay. Now, I don't say much, but it seems to be some shady stuff going on. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it's political. It's political, you know. And they're following the orders of Neely. Yeah, they're following the orders of Neely. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Now, Mr. Sharps just stood here and he said how long he's been on this board and how long he's been working. And thank you for your service. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Politics is an ugly business. I understand it. I've dabbled in politics, not personally, but I've tried to support those that have done good for both the Democratic and the Republican side and the independent side.
Yes, you have.
If politics invades one of the greatest institutions we have in this city, that being Hurley Medical Center, that's a sad state.
Yes,
it's a sad state when we have $400 million, 2,500 employees, 20,000 people come to that hospital that need help and are released every year on top of the thousands and thousands that we serve, including 80,000 in ER. The emergency room does 70 to 80,000 people a year, and they need management and they need guidance and they need critical people that take this seriously, not as something to put a name on a letterhead, but take it seriously. The work done at Hurley is immense. Many meetings, many hours, and it's exceedingly important. And I would appreciate the support of the board, of the council.
Well, you know, I support your appointment to the Hurley board 100%. You have my support.
Appreciate that.
Because I applaud you for your service for that long.
Thank you.
This is ridiculous.
Always laughing.
Yeah, I mean, and you have my support. Thank you.
Anyone else in the first round? All right, so seeing that there is no one else, I'll go ahead and I will take my time. So, Mr. Schultz, resume is impressive. You've been on the board for a long time. So I don't have any personal bias. I don't need to have a personal conversation with you offline like others need to have with other colleagues, not at all. The reason why I voted to postpone indefinitely was because the administration sent this up here and administration asked that we pull these. Okay, so that is why. And so because the administration, they recommended the 3 people, and that's why I didn't support Mr. Carter's, because they wanted, and I will not be supporting Dr. Ahmed, because the administration, they asked if we would pull these appointments. And usually, when they ask for us to pull appointments, we do. At the end, we'll wait till they bring them back and we'll vote, because they put them forth. So this isn't anything personal. This is what they usually do. So, and this is the precedent in this body. I have yet to remember administration asking us to pull something and the colleagues voting against them pulling it. I don't know anything about that. So, but as of today, we were asked to pull these 3. Now, let me be clear with this. So, if we were to pull this, will this mean that you cannot continue to serve in your capacity, that you must stay home? Or do you continue to serve until this appointment is filled?
Per city council, per the charter, a member is only replaced. They serve until they are replaced.
Okay, till they are replaced. Okay, so you'll still be there. So
well,
that is.
It does make a difference, though. It does make a difference because here's part of the issue. I don't know today if I'm going to be on the board next month. I have no clue. I can be replaced at any time. So if you know, I mean, you have the fortunate ability that when you're elected, you're here for a term, right? You're not here till next week or next month. It's very difficult to spend the time and energy needed to guide a hospital like Hurley Medical Center not knowing in next month if you're not going to have a job. That's very difficult. We spend hours reading material in strategic planning, finance, audit, HR, all of the different committees. It takes time and effort. Why would you put yourself through all of that if you're going to be out of a job in a month? Why would you do it? What's the upside? That's why there's 5-year terms for this. It takes an immense amount of time to understand the running of a hospital like Hurley Medical Center. I was there for 2 years before I knew what GSW meant. GFW means, are you ready? Gunshot wound. That's the type of hospital that we serve. And it has been a constant, I'm going to use the term threat. Look at this hospital, look at this council, look how many people have not been reappointed. It's not just me. People know, they don't know if they're going to get reappointed. And then when it's time to be reappointed, they go through the politics. It's not if I'm capable or not capable. If you decide I'm not capable, tell me, I'll step down. But board members of Hurley Medical Center that spend hours and listening to the tragic stories that happen don't know if they're going to be involved in Hurley Medical Center next month. Now, how would you like it if that was your term on city council? Your term is now every month. You guys, the amount of reading that you people do is immense. And to try to understand the stories, even the few things, even about St. Mark's, what you need to understand is immense. And to go through all that time, effort, and trouble to be ejected from your job next month, you probably wouldn't do it.
Okay, so Ms. Schultz, thank you for that. And I definitely understand that someone who got a recall, 5 of them, think I made history with the city of Flint. So I understand about, doing your job. I definitely understand that. But again, per administration, and I would like to have a conversation to see, on what is the reservation as far as this goes. Because again, I don't go off of things that are personal. I go off of strictly what I see in the community. I go off strictly what this resume says. This is what I go by.
Request for information.
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, do you know why they want to postpone this appointment?
Good question.
Why the administration wants to postpone?
And so, as I just stated on the record, I do not, and I would like to have a conversation to see what is going on behind it. Because again, there's nothing against Mr. Schultz like Mr. Carter faced. There's nothing against any appointment. So I would like to go ahead and do some investigating. Anyone in the second round?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Ms. Priestley.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone this to the next meeting
No.
so that we can get clarity.
Okay. So there's a motion to postpone this to the next meeting. Is there any support? Oh, okay, I'll support that. I'll support that. All right, so, so there's a motion on the floor to postpone resolution 250006 until the next meeting. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Mr. Schatt? Yes. Mr. Pfeiffer? Mr. Jarrett? Yes. Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Vote is 7 yes, 0 no.
Did you say 7 yes, 0 no?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, all right. So 7 yes, 0 no. So this appointment will be postponed to the next meeting. So now it's time for resolution 250007, the appointment to the Hurley Board of Managers, Dr. Khalid M. Muhammad.
Madam Chair,
Go
Madam
ahead.
Chair,
I'll yield.
Go ahead, Councilwoman 7th Ward.
I would like to postpone this to the next meeting.
Support.
All right, it has been properly moved and supported to postpone this resolution 250007 to the next meeting. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Burns? It is not in. Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer? Mr. Jarrett?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no. So that will be postponed to the next meeting as well.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Ms. Priestley.
the next separation, I'd like to make a motion to postpone until February 10th, 240341.1.
All right, it has been moved and properly seconded by the councilman in the 8th Ward to be postponed to February the 10th. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer? Mr. Jarrett?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns is not in. The vote is 6 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no. So that resolution passes. So it looks like this is the end of the meeting.
Motion to adjourn?
All right, motion to adjourn is supported by Councilman 7th Ward. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Madam Chair, I want to point out that you moved the organization of council to the end of the agenda.
Well, it's been a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Mr. Pfeiffer? Mr. Jarrett? No. Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
No.
Ms. Burns is not in. Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
The vote is 4 yes, 2 no.
The vote is 4 yes, 2 no, so that motion fails. So now we will move on to the leadership vote. And here you go, Madam Clerk.
So for the organization of council, left off at round 707. So we will start with round 708. And the first name will be Ms. Winfrey Carter.
Winfrey Carter.
Ms. Burns is not in. Ms. Mashat? Mr. Pfeiffer?
Winfrey Carter.
Mr. Jarrett? Ms. Lewis? Ms. Priestley?
Mashat?
That's 3 votes for Ms. Winfrey Carter, 3 votes for Ms. Mashat. Round 709. Ms. Burns is not in. Ms. Mashat? Mr. Pfeiffer?
Winfrey Carter.
Mr. Jarrett? Ms. Lewis?
Mashat.
Ms. Priestley?
Mashat?
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Winfrey Carter.
3 votes for Ms. Mashat, 3 votes for Ms. Winfrey Carter. Round 710. Ms. Mashat? Mr. Pfeiffer?
Winfrey Carter.
Mr. Jarrett? Ms. Lewis? Ms. Priestley?
Mashat?
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Winfrey Carter.
Ms. Burns is not in. That's 3 votes for Ms. Mashat, 3 votes for Ms. Winfrey Carter. Round 711.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion to adjourn, and for that, we will start with Mr. Jarrett. Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns is not in. Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no. This meeting is adjourned at 6:59 PM.